Roger. 2,000 feet.
Hello YouTube, Wycliffe Barrett here, Xplane dedicated. Today we're going to Greece and we're looking at LGIR by TDG. Heraklion International Airport and Nikos Kazantzakis is the primary airport on the island of Crete. And would you believe it is the second busiest airport after Athens International? Right, I've never been to Crete, I've been to Greece and I actually lived in Corfu for quite some time. And the airports kind of all look the same, although just lately, in maybe the last 20 years or so, they're becoming more modernised and not just the concrete blocks that they used to be. As you can see here, it's a very nice airport. It's a large airport, got a nice long runway, so you can get any size aircraft in. I'm just flying the Cessna 172 for a change by Airfoil Labs, and as you can see, the airport looks very nice with wonderful marking on the ground. One thing TDG is good at, and that is ground markings, I must admit. He does a really good job, and as you can see as I taxi down to the runway, there's a number of aircraft lying around, of course, and these will be holiday destination airliners, so people like Jet2, EasyJet, Ryanair, Monarch, etc. They will be the types of aircraft flying into Heraklion International Airport on the island of Crete. One thing TDG hasn't done, he hasn't added any orthophoto, which is a little bit of a shame, but everything else is very nice. The runway here has got some very nice tar marks on, so lots of rubber laid down by the tyres of the aircraft, and there's high definition runway markings there. It's a very nice area of the world, there's lots to see, and of course you can do a lot of island hopping here, whether it be by ferry or by plane. You can just jump in a little light aircraft and take yourself off. Lots of the airports in Greece are also military bases as well, so Greece has a lot of airports where it keeps its aircraft, its fighter aircraft, not that many, but also because of the national service that has to be done in Greece, where all men, young men of a certain age has to join the army for 2 years. A lot of the army bases are located on airports as well. As well as that, some of the airports are members of NATO, so that's the North Atlantic Treaty Alliance organisation, and they will have NATO bases here in Greece, as Greece is quite a strategically placed country between east and west. Anyway, enough of that, looking at the airport. Now, the unfortunate thing here is that there is OSM data, but the buildings are very Germanic. This has been a fault of Xplane for a couple of years now, where they do look really good, they've got nice buildings, but they're based on some kind of European concept of a German house. So here in Greece, of course, you'd see lots of white cubist style buildings and houses. Unfortunately, we haven't got them here. Now, if you get the Mykonos scenery, there have been some custom made buildings for that, and that makes it look an awful lot different. As I say, there's no orthophoto scenery here with TDG's airport, but I thought that I might try and download some. I generally don't bother with orthophoto scenery because I fly quite high, so I don't really need to see the ground, but decided that I would try and download some from Zone Photo, which is where you can get it already made, rather than trying to make my own, which you can do as well. But let's have a look and see what it looks like with some orthophoto scenery, which I'm just about to get installed. Here we are. So I've installed orthophoto scenery, and as you can see, the coastline is not the best in the world. It's a bit cut off in areas, but from around about 2,000, 3,000 feet, it doesn't look that bad at all. Gives you a good depiction of what the town might look like quite close to the airport. But as I say, the harbours there and the coastline, not the best cut in the world. But even so, it all kind of blends in really well, and the airport blends in very nicely with this area. So I'm quite happy with that orthophoto scenery. I can't remember what zoom level it is. I think it might be zoom level 16. You can get higher, of course, but that is going to have an impact on your frame rates. But I find this quite useful, and I'm flying, as you well know, on an i7 with 32 gig of RAM and a GTX 1080. So yeah, it looks okay. Turning to night, of course, you're not going to get all the lighting in the city, because all you're going to get is the lights on some of the default buildings, and not the photo image buildings, and that once again is all down to OSM data. If there's not good OSM data for the area, then you're not going to get all the buildings depicted. So I'm pretty sure I could get OSM data from World2Xplane site, or even from Zone Photos. They do a Europe package which gives you lots of buildings for Europe, so I might download that and have a look and see what that looks like. So it's a long time since I've done any freeware airports, so this is freeware. It's available from xplane.org as usual. It's a very, very tiny package, the airport itself. It was seconds downloading it, and even less time installing it, because it's just a simple click and drag, isn't it? But it's very well worth it. And if you're flying around Greece and you need some airports to fly to, then why not download TDG's Heraklion? LGIR. It's free, so go and get it. We're going to be moving to another airport by TDG, and in a moment we'll be going to Action National Airport, which is out on a peninsula, which is very, very nice indeed. So I'll see you in a moment.
A few moments later.
LPGZ, there's the Google map of it. LPGZ by TDG. This is Action National Airport. It's an airport serving Preveza and Lefkada in Greece. It is also known as the Preveza Airport. The airport is also used by NATO and the Hellenic Air Force. So you've got an Air Force base here, NATO use it, and it's got a huge long runway. Got sea at both ends, so it could be a bit tricky landing and making sure you get that approach right. But yeah, it's a huge long runway. I didn't backtrack to the end, and I took off in no time at all. And as you can see, it's your very typical kind of Greek provincial airport. Once again, no orthophoto scenery for it, but I nipped onto Zone Photo and got some as well for here. As I say, once again, a lovely airport and the Greek peninsula, and plenty of ocean around and opportunities to do some island hopping. The default scenery doesn't look that bad. I gotta be honest, it doesn't look that bad at all, and I can't really complain about it. It does its job. It looks good. It may not be wholly accurate, but then again, the photo scenery that I downloaded for it may also not be completely accurate either. It looked a bit, to me, it looks a bit arid, as you'll see when we get to it. But other than that, once again, another free airport from TDG. He makes them at an incredible pace. Doesn't do any custom buildings on them. Tends to use just Lego stuff, and maybe a couple of custom buildings that he has in his own kind of library stock himself. But more often than not, they're just Lego buildings, and he really does these airports very, very quickly. Sometimes I have had a few complaints about TDG airports myself in the past, such as stands being incorrectly placed. They may be drawn in the right position, but when you start to put aircraft down, they just don't match up. But he's rectified that in some of his later airports, which is a lot better. Although on this airport, I think there was only one stand available, if I remember. I'll have to check that, so don't hold me to that. But once again, it's freeware, and as you can see as we come over the top, we've got a number of barracks there for military personnel as well, and I believe there are quite a few military aircraft hangars on the other side of the airfield. This is the main apron coming over now, and if I recall, I think it takes something like 3,904 flights a year into this airport. So it's not the busiest airport in the world, but it's serving quite a large area, and it has that military base there as well. So moving along then, we'll have a look at the orthophoto scenery and see what that looks like. Once again, I downloaded it from Zone Photos, and I'll put the link in the bottom of the video for that site. Obviously, I think it was ZL16, once again, zoom level 16, and it's, you know, it's quite useful to just go off and get something rather than making it with I can't remember the G2XPL or whatever it is application that you can use. Just coming over the apron once again here as we quickly move into the photo scenery. Here we go now. So there you go, that's the photo scenery that I downloaded, and I say it looks a heck of a lot different. It's very arid, and if you look on Google Maps and a satellite image of this area, it's a lot greener than that. So I think this photo imagery, or this satellite image, was probably taken in the high summer. But it does look a lot greener than this. This looks very arid and very desert-like. But moving out towards, you know, going into the inland areas, it doesn't look too bad at all. It's useful. It serves a purpose. That lake that you can see just over the top of the glare shield there, that lake is depicted quite well in real life as well. But the edges and the beaches around the lake, they're not that well drawn, and that is a problem when, you know, somebody is doing photo scenery and they're just doing it very, very quickly just to get it out there. But once again, you can download it for free, and there's no hassle. You don't have to build it yourself and use all those wonderful tools that are now available. So why not? You know, it's once again, it's a free airport. It's available on Xplane.org, and I will put the links in the bottom for both of these airports, including the link for Zone Photo as well as Simheaven, because I did go to Simheaven to get some European buildings. So I put all the links in the bottom. As always, my name's Wycliffe Barrett. This is Xplane Dedicated. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like button, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you all soon. You take care now. Cheerio.